Eugen, thank you very much.
Hi, Marco.
WeWork is one of these global businesses, unicorns, who we are all curious about because you kind of changed the way people look at real estate. Suddenly it became hip. And I think today we want to know a little bit more than what we see in the media.
Thanks for the invitation.
So first of all, what is WeWork and how did it start?
So WeWork is a digital and physical platform.
By the way, you run, just to introduce yourself, you run the European business, right?
Europe, Israel, and Australia. So WeWork is a physical digital platform, a community of creators. We offer our members space, community, and services. And the whole idea behind it is really to bring people together and form a community. So basically, the businesses all do business with one another. We basically introduce the businesses. There's 4 different ways of how we introduce them. I think number 1 is the design of the spaces itself, which really leads to communication and collaboration. On the other hand, we have community managers in every single building connecting the companies.
You need to speak a bit slower, a bit louder, and
basically, when we introduce these different companies...
so you introduce your tenants to each other?
Exactly. So we call them members, not tenants, and we introduce them to each other. They do business with each other. What we found out in a survey is that about 70% of all of our members collaborate with one another, and actually 50% of all the members have done business with each other.
Right. I guess that's more than a marketing spin then, but traditionally, you are providing office space.
So I think that the office space is just one small part of the offering that we have. We rather call the space the gateway to our platform. There's a digital platform where people communicate with one another. There's services that we add on top. Just think about it. If you're a member of WeWork, you have access to space here in London. But now you're an entrepreneur here in London, and tomorrow you want to go to Shanghai and do business there, and you've never been in Shanghai.
And is there like a marketplace you have built in an intranet type of platform? Or?
Exactly. There's a social network where people post and say, like, hey, I'm looking for a web designer in London. Can you help me? And suddenly, after 1 hour, you see already 5 responses with recommendations for a web designer. Or people say, I'm sitting on the 3rd floor in your building. Let's meet for a coffee. And the good thing is that as we've been growing very much globally over the last years, the network becomes stronger because now we have about 170 physical locations in 56 cities around the world in 18 different countries, which means now you have access to every single office.
Let's talk about some numbers because I think they're important. How much capital did you raise as a firm? Is it a number which you can communicate?
So this is not a number that we've disclosed publicly, but we are very confident with the fundraising that we had so far, and we're now investing the capital into our global growth. And every single month in Europe, we are opening between 3 and 4 new locations, and globally between 10 and 15.
But you raise billions, basically.
So we have not communicated the exact number, but it was a good number.
Okay, and in how many countries are you in Europe?
So in Europe, we started out with London, which by far is our largest market.
London?
We're in London, we are in Berlin, Amsterdam, we have 6 locations in Israel, Paris. We're about to open in Manchester next month, Frankfurt, Hamburg just opened, we've just announced Madrid, and just yesterday we've announced our first location in Dublin as well.
Okay, now I think there are lots of companies here, and I remember, because we know as NOAH and WeWork, we have also a long history, so I know you a little well. And the interesting thing, I guess, when it started and Adam brought the concept from Israel to the world, the idea was that you get a lot of startups. But then I think what you figured out is that a lot of big companies like Google, et cetera, wanted to join the platform, I guess, to have access to the startups. So it's really a type of parallel economy you create.
So I think it's very interesting that when we started in 2010, it was a lot of startups, freelancers, creative people. At the same time, like once the network has been growing, a lot of more service-oriented companies joined, like attorneys and tax advisors, NPR firms, HR firms. And as we've been growing larger, actually large enterprise companies starting coming to us and say, we want to be part of this environment. We want to build out our culture, and we want to be able to attract and retain the best talent. And I think this was one of the largest drivers for them to come.
I think this is, by the way, this conference, the objective is to bring together corporates, investors, startups, and service providers and have them network at the conference. But
so I think our values are very aligned.
You are doing this all year round.
Exactly.
Hopefully you're not becoming too successful because there's no need anymore for a conference.
We have a great partnership.
So tell me, in terms of pricing, so this WeWork thing sounds great. I'm a startup, I have 20 employees, I want them to move from home to all in one office. How more expensive is it to go to a normal office space versus WeWork?
Yeah, so I think a very interesting thing is that like when you go to a normal office, you just get office space. I think in the WeWork membership fee, you get everything included. Basically, you come in, you have a flexible model, you can have even your space month to month, and you have everything included from your furniture, there's no CapEx investment, you have
nothing
internet.
to worry about.
Exactly, there's internet, there's coffee, you have your community, there's events almost every single day, and these events, they vary from having morning yoga on Wednesday together with your other members. Just a few weeks ago, we had the mayor of Chicago and the mayor of London to do a presentation about the future of cities. During lunch, people learning Mandarin lessons. So there's a lot of different programming, and basically everything is included. I think through the technology that we've been using into making, through machine learning, making the design of our spaces smarter and smarter, we can work with the different efficiency of the spaces, and that makes it even more attractive as well.
Now, this question is not in here, but it just came to my mind, so I'm going to ask it anyway. We have a big thing happening in the world with the platforms. Google, Facebook, Amazon, and when you were describing your business, it sounds a bit like Amazon Web Services. You can scale up, scale down, nothing to worry about. Now, if you think like a million years ahead and the vision of WeWork, do you think there could be a company at one point acquire you? Would an Amazon be a good partner for you?
I think that question is very theoretical, I think, in the long term. But I think what's very interesting when you're speaking about platform is, I think the way how we think about space is space as a service. I think people don't want to be tied to just one place because people need to stay flexible. Companies need to stay flexible. Everything is going into the cloud. And similarly, we're thinking about space as well.
So you have access to all the locations while you travel.
And it's not only access to the locations, you actually have access to the entire network. So think about an entrepreneur from here, wants to go to San Francisco tomorrow, does not know anyone there. Just message the community manager in San Francisco and say, I want to meet somebody who's doing artificial intelligence. I want to meet somebody from online gaming. And you will have the introductions already before you arrive in there.
So our conference app, NOAH Connect app, who has downloaded NOAH Connect? That's now over 70%. Like we measure engagement by conference attendee, download, etc. How many members of you use this networking tool, the platform? How many % are engaged in this monthly? So
all of the members download the app when they join because they can do a lot through the app, like conference booking, guest registration.
Can you check your billing?
You can check your billing. You can do everything through the app. And I think that the majority of it actually is using it. As I was saying, 70% of the members collaborated with one another.
And so the co-workspace market, you saw a lot of kind of Me Too companies popping up. Now, what is the largest competitor you would see in the market without naming them? Is there one big one who you're worried about?
I think we think about it a little bit differently because I think co-working is just a small piece of what we are doing, and we're doing so many more things. And as I was saying, like the larger enterprise companies come to us, and actually now a lot of larger enterprise companies ask us to come to them and provide the services, the hospitality, the design in their buildings as well. So we don't think so much about that type of competition, but rather like what's next for us and how can we serve our members.
Okay, and when you look at the Fortune 500, can you tell us roughly how much % are at least one person as a member?
So the latest numbers I've seen, we have about 15% of all Fortune 500 companies are members. But I think that over the next years, we believe that almost all of them will be members as well.
Okay, so WeWork wasn't enough. It's also WeLive. You do the similar concept for private accommodation. What's the update on WeLive? How many members you have in WeLive?
So for those who does not know WeLive, it's a community-based apartment living. Similarly, as in WeWork, we design and provide the apartments with a community with programming. We have 2 locations that are open for WeLive, one in New York, one in Washington, D.C. Both are full with a very long wait list. So we've just announced our 3rd location in Seattle, and we are currently scouting for more locations also in Europe because the demand has been so big. A lot of our WeWork members actually asking us, like, when are you opening WeLive in London? There's a very big demand for it here.
Eugen, I wish you the best of luck for WeWork.
Thank you very much, Marco.
Very happy you are here.
Thank you.